Well, hello everybody. This is Brandon, Little NC Farmer, coming to you again today for another something different time. And we wasn't able to get one loaded up last week. We're busy. We had the vacation and other things going on, so we really was pushed on time to be able to get that out. And I apologize for that because it was really my fault. Just so many things going on at one time. But got a nice cool morning this morning. I think the last time I looked it was like 72 degrees or something out here. It's not bad at all. Even the humidity is really not that bad this morning for the middle of July. But I know that won't last. But we got here roughly a little over an inch of rain from the tropical storm Elsa, whatever it was. And it was welcome, don't get me wrong. They really wasn't expecting this area to get a tremendous amount anyway. But the garden overall, guys, hopefully I've got a video that'll come out. Well, you just saw one yesterday doing the green beans. And hopefully I'll have another one that's a more updated one that'll be out Friday if everything goes to plan. Showing you my garden. I have got to get in there. I have got so much, guys. I'm just so far behind right now. And when you work full time and try to have a garden and you got other things, there's not enough hours in the day. I think most of you probably know where I'm coming from when I say that. But I've got blueberries, I've got green beans to pick, the cucumbers, the squash. I even noticed some okra that's coming on now. So, it's just, it never ends. So anyway, but Lord willing, we'll get to that. If not today, we'll get it tomorrow. The beans I know will hold another day. I would definitely like to get my blueberries off if I could, because we've got critters around here that love to get them. So, but anyway, that's how the garden's doing. I mean, 2021 is actually probably worse this year than 2020 was. But for the garden, it's better. That much I can say. But other things, I'll not go into details, but it's another messed up year. Our world's just going crazy. And I'm not going to go into any details on that right now, but I do want to talk a little bit today. Just a plain statement, guys. I mean, where's common sense at anymore? And I began to think about, I recently getting back into public work, and of course I started a part-time job at the greenhouse back in the spring, and I'm still, as of right now, I'm still employed with them part-time. But after the 4th, there's really very little demand for people wanting plants around here, and that kind of dies down. And so, but they still use me as they, need me, and I'm thankful, for that. But I took on another nighttime position at a local manufacturing plant not too far from the greenhouse that I work at, and working for them some. And guys, just getting into, I mean, really, where is common sense? And it seems like everywhere I've been within the last 2 years of public work, I mean, it's just like there's no common sense. And if manufacturing doesn't get a grip on controlling and running their business, I mean, we're done for. And it's like the more complicated, the more complex, the more chaos and confusion that management can create, it seems like the better they like it, guys. Now, I don't know. I talked to a gentleman here back, and he's in business, And he told me, he said, I don't care where you go. He said every person that he had talked to that was in any kind of management position, he said it is that way everywhere he goes. And I mean, I just really don't know. I mean, it's just chaos. And I was just looking at, what's going on just at the little place where I'm at. Guys, we've got product running out our ears, nowhere to put it. There's none of the little metal frames that we put the product on that we make. They're all full. They're all used up. We've had to make makeshift things with pallets and stuff like this to put stuff on. I mean, guys, and it's running out our ears. They don't have the people to continue the process throughout the plant. And another thing to do with that, people don't want to work now. They're getting paid more to stay at home. Guys, that is going to come back, and it's going to be very harmful to our country in the days ahead. And we're paying people to be lazy now. And, there's people got this mentality. Suck it up just as long as you can. Eat the gravy as long as it's there. And I'm not worried about the free gravy. I'm worried about the payday. There's always a payday for this free gravy that you're getting. There's nothing in this life, guys, free. The only thing that is free in this life was your salvation that was free to you. But Jesus paid that price. So technically it wasn't free, but it is free to you and I, because there's no man could pay that price. And, I remember, I think I've shared this before. I had a teacher in school that shared this one time with us. A young man was talking about his lunch was free, didn't cost him anything. And she stopped him right dead in his tracks, and she said, young man, she said, I'll have you to know, it might be free to you, but somebody somewhere paid for your lunch so that you would have a meal to eat. And I have never, ever forgotten about that. I was in 5th grade when I heard that teacher. She stopped, and I mean in front of the entire class, and we got to hear about that. But guys, I mean, we're living in a day and hour now where everybody thinks everybody owes them something now. And no, nobody owes me nothing. If there's something I need, you work your butt off and you get it. And if you don't have the money on hand to buy it, and if it's what you need, if it's what you have to have, what you do, you save up the money and get it. That's what people don't understand no more. Now it's easier. The loan sharks are out here now. They want to loan you the money, and you'll pay 3 times as much of its value back to pay for it. There's nobody knows how to pay for anything in cash anymore, to pay the amount in full. Now I know there's times, like if you're buying a home, buying a car, or, there is big ticket items. If you're like me, you're not wealthy, you're not rich, you don't have thousands laying around somewhere, you will have to borrow money and set up a payment plan and pay that money back. I understand that, guys. But we've got a generation now, they cannot wait until they earn the money. They don't know how to save money. I mean, just as soon as they get money in their pocket, they blow it on a bunch of junk. I mean, really. Well, there's 2 things that's important to me. Number 1, that's paying my tithe to God and an offering. Number 2 is seeing that my bills get paid, so that we've got a place to live, that we have the utilities that we need here, that we have food, for my boys and all to eat, that we've got a place here. That's the 2 things that are important. And if there's anything left over, it goes into a savings. And guys, that's put back for a future project. I've got ideas, things I'd love to do. I don't know whether I'll get to. There's things needs to be done inside this house. And I'm getting to the age, I don't like to do a lot of carpentry work and remodeling and stuff. I just don't like to fool. I don't have the patience for that no more. If I had more time, that might be different. So I don't know. We'll just have to look at it and see. But, you know, people don't know how to set aside money and save. I know people, just long as they think they got it in their hand, it's got to be spent on something. You can't look at it that way. That's not common sense. You've got to be disciplined. And, you know, it's like I heard a preacher tell us one time, you come up a time in life and you get a little extra, don't spend it just because you got it. You better put it aside, because God may give you that because he may know you might have a tire blow out on your vehicle, and that's got to be replaced. Or your refrigerator might break down. That's got to be replaced. That's a necessity. That's something that you need. Or your hot water heater. Or, you know, something will happen, and you'll need that extra that God blessed you with. I know people today, I don't know why I'm on this. This ain't really where I wanted to go, but we'll just run with it while it's running. But I know people today, you could hand them $1 million, 10 million for that matter, and I guarantee you, before the sun sets right back here, they'd be broke. Guarantee you. Because they don't know how to be wise spenders. The Bible talks about being a good steward, and I think I've done something different time on that. Being a good steward of what God's blessed them with. They're wasteful. I mean, I see so much waste today. I don't care if it's in our manufacturing firms. I don't care if it's in business around here, homes around here. Well, I see so much waste that it literally makes me cringe, guys. And I don't have stuff to waste. And another thing, and I think I've heard another YouTuber recently talk about this, be careful what you're spending your money on, guys. There's so much junk that is out here on the market today. And some of it is imitation. I'll just give you a good example. It's just like parts that are for my 8N Ford tractor. I can go on eBay, I can find proof meters, the speedometer type thing. I can find carburetors on there, dirt cheap. I mean absolutely dirt cheap. Okay? Guys, 10, 15 years ago or longer, a brand new carburetor that would go on my 8N Ford tractor, if you went to the Ford New Holland place, back then when it was still Ford tractor, if you went to buy a new one, they would cost you $400. I'm serious. If you don't believe me, I know some of you guys that are into farming and stuff, you know exactly I'm telling the truth. Because I remember my dad's 600 Ford. I think there's some early videos on here on my channel of it. We bought a new carburetor for his tractor. Actually, we couldn't get the Marvel Skeebler, however you pronounce it. We had to get the Zenith carburetor, which was a little cheaper made, but still a good carburetor. But it was about $400. And guys, that was back in the 90s. Now, why all of a sudden are they cheaper? Well, there's an explanation for that. And that one was made here. The ones you get now are not made here, guys. They are reproductions, cheap reproductions made elsewhere, and you can figure out where they're made. And you've got to be absolutely careful where you buy your products, or where your products that you're getting are made from. I'm just looking, guys, somebody about run off the road out there. That catches my eye. But where your products that because you're just throwing your money in the trash can if you're buying cheap junk that's going to be wore out and broke within 6 months down the road. You just throw that money away, and they're not going to stand behind it. They'll just laugh at you. And I know so many people. I've been guilty of it myself. Now, there is some things, I don't know why I'm on this, but I'll just go ahead and hit it. And that's just like my weed eater. I've got a Husqvarna weed eater. And, well, why I'm talking about junk today. But here, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, it just got to where it wouldn't run. I mean, and I'd about give up on it. And seems like I had got a kit for the carburetor. I tried to rebuild the carburetor on it, and it run a little better, but it still wasn't right. Guys, there's a stiff breeze coming through here. I hope it's not messing that up. But it still wouldn't run right, and so a friend of mine told me, he said, maybe you should see about just putting a new carburetor on it. So I got on eBay and got to looking, and he told me, he said, now be sure that you get the OME carburetor. There's knockoffs out there. He said they're a waste of money. So I made sure that I got one that had Husqvarna's name on it. Now Husqvarna don't make the carburetor. I think it was a Walboro, if I remember right, something like that. But it is made specifically for Husqvarna, the model weed eater that I had. And so I got it, and I replaced it, and it took care of my problem. I mean, I've not had any more. But what caused that to break down? Now, there was something that caused it, and I'll tell you exactly what it was. It was this sorry, cheap, junk gasoline that we're getting now to go in our vehicles. Now, we've got one station, it's right out here, not too far away. They still sell the non-ethanol fuel. That's what I get. That is what I get from here on out. I do not buy nothing else to go in my lawnmowers and weed eaters, especially your 2-cycle engines. You do not want to run that ethanol fuel in it. And oh, that's a good breeze. I'm just looking right over there, front of the house. I'm sitting on the back side of the house. I can see through the carport. Old Glory is a flying good, guys. But anyway, you don't want to put that ethanol 2-cycle fuel in, or fuel. You don't want to use the ethanol to make 2-cycle fuel with. Now, thankfully, my chainsaws, I've not had an issue. I did have the older one, the smaller one that I've got. I've had to rebuild the carburetor on it, but once I did that, I've not had any more issues. But it just goes back, guys, it's junk. Everything that we're producing now is nothing simply but junk. And it's like nobody cares. Quality means absolutely nothing. There was a day back in the 50s, and part of the 60s for that matter, but especially the 50s, quality meant everything. And now it's produce as much as you can, as fast as you can, even as sloppy as you can. Just get it out. It's coming a payday. And I just don't like that. But the thing is, the consumer now don't know no different. We've been trained, guys. We think this is the normal. And you just keep throwing your money in the trash can over junk. And I do too. If I'm not careful. And I just like something that's built well. I like something that's put together with some pride in it. that a body can know that, hey, I've got a good product here that's going to last me a lifetime. And I didn't gear this way, but this is where this is actually headed. But it's like now, if you go into a place of business or a place of work with some common sense and use your head and try to do something and make a good product that will hold up, that will last, you won't last there long. I've seen that, guys. But if you go into a place of business and you don't care if you're on time, you don't care if your product gets out the door or not, you don't care if you take care of it, you've got a job for life. I mean, really, that's the way most of these places are operating now, guys. Now, I know a lot of you folks, maybe not all of you, but I know some of you are retired and you're out of the workforce now. If you've been out of the workforce 5 years, you would not believe how much that it has changed within 5 years. And if you've been out 10 years, you wouldn't have a clue. If you've been out 20 years, I mean, you wouldn't recognize it. I mean, guys, it's so much different now than when I started 30 years ago, 31 years ago in public work. And, you know, I did a video recently on that Hammond organ. And it was made in 1959, the specific one that I was playing in that video. That's the one at our church. And they started manufacturing those, I think it was around 1935. And guys, a lot of those organs are still in existence. They are still playing. Isn't that remarkable? But I can take you to one that was made in 1980. It's blew up and there's no hope for it. You can't get parts for it. It's once just tore up, throw it away. Go get you another one. See, things are not built to repair and run again. Things are built now to throw away and do away with. That really makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And so, but we've done a lot of this to ourselves, guys. We demand things cheap, and so we don't want to pay a lot for it. That comes with a price. And that price usually ends up in the quality of what we're getting. So, I guess, you know, the thing about it, I'm not one of these people, I never have been. Like and I've never bought that many automobiles in my lifetime. But I'm not one of these that go and nickel and dime the salesman. I want him to give me his best price that he's got. And if I like it, I'll tell him. And if it's more than I can afford, I'm going to tell him that's just more than I want to put into it. Now, and I'm going to be upfront and honest with him. And if he thinks he can do a little better, you know, I'll listen to him. And if I don't like it, I'm just going to tell him, Mister, listen, I know what you've got to have, and I understand that. I'm not going to be ugly with him, but that's just more than I'm really able to afford at this time, and so I'm going to look at something else. And leave it at that, you know. But I've seen people, I mean, they'd stay up till midnight on Saturday night trying to haggle out a deal on an automobile, and it would wind up ending up over a tank of gas put in the car that's stopping the sale. I mean, serious. I know a gentleman that's the way, he wouldn't buy a car unless he went on Saturday afternoon, because, and especially at the end of the month, because they wanted to get their quota in. And if it was that one more sale, they would go out of their way. I seen that man, he said he stayed there till midnight on Saturday night and buying a car. And I said, did you buy it? He said, nope. He said he wouldn't put a tank of gas in, so I told him to tear up the papers. It was all. Well, whatever. I said, if I was going to stay up that late, I'd have something to show for it, but you know, it's whatever. But guys, really, I mean, this is where we have come as a society. And, you know, I think there's a verse of scripture. I'll look it up. It's coming to my mind right now. Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with all thy might, or something like that. I'll try to look that up. And I'll put it in caption where it's at, what it is. But I don't think God wants us to be slothful in our dealings and in our work. And I can't fit in. That's where I'm having trouble fitting in now in society. I'm not a person, you know, when a man is paying me to do a job, I want every I dotted, every T crossed, just like he wants it. And I'll never forget something my granddaddy told me years ago when I started public work. He said, you do exactly what your boss man tells you to do. He said, don't do no more and don't do no less. He said, do exactly what he says. And if he comes up to you and see, nowadays this is what's going on, they expect you to read your mind. I mean, I'm going to get off on something else before I finish. And they say, well, why didn't you do this? Well, you didn't tell me. I mean, I can't read minds. But the thing I'm noticing today, guys, there's no training. I mean, they expect you to go in and figure it out, walk in off the floor, and you're supposed to know what's going on. I'm sorry, I don't. And neither does anybody else. I mean, I'm just looking at what, you know, where I'm at right now. I hadn't received no training. I'm just trying to fit in as best I can and do the best I can. And, you know, and basically I'm, you know, just a material handler, just moving material from point A to point B, but it's a little more complicated than that right now. It's moving it from point A to point A, point 1 and A, point 2, and then from there you go to point B. I mean, it's kind of challenging, but I'm gradually catching on. But there's no training. I mean, I don't understand that. Don't understand the mentality behind that. And it's just like, you know, I worked in knitting for a long time, knitting hosiery. And used to be, you was on training for 6 weeks before you was actually turned loose on a set. Now, I mean, guys, before we shut down, and this is probably why we shut down, before we shut down, they put them out there 2 or 3 nights, 2 or 3 days, whatever. And then next thing you know, they turn them loose. Tearing up knitting machines left and right. And management sitting there scratching there. Why are we going through so many needles? Well, you know, it's obvious. They don't know what they're doing. They're tearing your machines all to pieces. I mean, go back. Common sense. I've seen it so much, guys. And I don't really know the answers. It's just a downfall in our society. And the way I see it, guys, it's only going to get worse. If it ever does get any better, it'll only get worse. And until people wake up, so I don't know, you know, we just need some good old-fashioned common sense. They're definitely not, you can't teach that, no way. I've always heard that if a man hadn't learned sense by the time he's 30 years old, he never will learn none. And I think there's a whole lot of truth in that. So, well, guys, I'm going to finish up here. I've got a lot I got to do today, and appreciate your time. I hope I've said something today that I feel like some of you will agree with it. Maybe it might make some of you mad. I don't know. But I know it's kind of scattered. But we just need some old-fashioned common sense, again, in our lives. So, guys, I appreciate you watching today. Appreciate my subscribers. I don't get to say that enough. And appreciate all your kind comments and everything you say and do. So, guys, y'all have a great day. And until next time, thank you from Little NC Farmer.